Today we're going to talk about the MIG welder. First of all, make sure you close the curtain. You're also going to want to make sure that the ventilation is on. Now get rid of any flammable materials such as paper or paper towel. You definitely don't want that in there. Make sure you have a set of MIG pliers. And what we're going to do with those MIG pliers is we're going to take a look at the nozzle of the MIG gun right now. Ugh, a little gross. So what we're going to do is take it off. We're going to take our MIG pliers, close them together, and then put them in the end of the nozzle and just twist it out. Make sure you get all that gunk out of there. Just really give it to you. Oh, yeah. Alright, maybe a little less, but yeah, get that out of there. Make sure it's nice and clean so that gas can flow freely. Excellent. So we're going to replace the nozzle back onto the MIG gun. And we're going to trim up this wire to make sure we have just enough. So the MIG pliers have a cutting head on them, and we're going to place the blades out from the nozzle. Excellent. Now for safety gear. Make sure you have your welding helmet. You're going to need a welding jacket. And of course, your welding gloves. Now, to the gas. Yeah, you're just going to want, no, not that one. Yeah, that one. Okay, slowly crack the tank and then give it 3 turns to the left to open it up. Let's turn it on. So in here we have our voltage, which we're going to set to about a 6 for our 1/8 inch metal we're going to weld. And then our wire speed we're going to set up to about 40 to start. This is where we're going to want to start for most things. Turn the machine on and we're ready to go. Now you're going to pull the trigger on the MIG gun to make sure that the wire flows freely. As you see here, we're good to go. So we're just going to trim that excess off once again and we're ready to weld. Now, making sure that you have your welding helmet set to weld and not grind, we're going to make sure that our wire is just barely touching the metal. We're going to lift off just a tiny bit and pull the trigger. And you can see here that I'm doing small circles or like a pigtail pattern to try to incorporate as much parent material as possible. That's one way we can go about it. Another way is we're going to do just a little bit of a C motion, and you can see that I'm snipping off the little ball that's left at the end of the wire here because that'll mess up the start of our weld. So here I'm going to rock back and forth, doing just a little bit of a back and forth motion, again pulling parent material into the weld and then coming back to the weld bead to make sure that everything gets mixed up nicely. And again, after every weld, you're probably going to want to snip that wire off just to make sure you have a nice clean leading edge. So now the final one here is we're going to do a little bit of a rock back and forth, not forward and backward. And that again is more of a stitch technique that would be used for bigger material to incorporate more and more of that weld. So these are the basics, and we'll go from there.